Mm. Mm. Oh yeah. Two. Hello. Oh boy, that was good stuff. Good stuff. That was my last Cosmic Crisp apple. Good juice level in that. Really, like it's crisp. It's crisp to bite into, but there's a significant amount of like delicious juice in every bite. These Cosmic crisps have really won me over. I might consider, when I'm at the grocery store next time, I might consider another Cosmic Crisp purchase. I don't know. I'm pretty sold. I'm pretty sold on these bad boys. Maybe a Cosmic Crisp apple tree. Well, now we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Getting a little bit ahead of ourselves there. Hello, Husker. How's it going? Does anyone remember the little bit of juice for you, honey? Donald Sterling audio, or am I a psychopath? I think you are a bit of a psychopath, Marty. I remember a couple of choice clips from that era, that Donald Sterling era. I do not remember that one though. That does not ring any bells. I must admit it does not. How's it going, folks? A lot on the agenda today. Tried to get on here a little bit earlier. Tried to be here a little bit more timely. For some reason, I'm still having a hard time starting at noon. Like, the show should really start at noon. I try to do this. Lately, it's been more 12:30, 12:45. And I'm trying to actually start at noon and give myself the actual time to talk about all the things that is happening, do our little chit chats, our little snack discourse, or what have you, and also make number go up. I know I got to give myself a bit more time for this. I'd been putting off doing some dishes and putting clothes away for a little while, so I did take the time to do that today. So I feel good. I accomplished some tasks this morning. I finished reviewing I finished editing the podcast, Great Insurgents podcast episode. just dropped with Ken Klippenstein. Really, really good episode, I think, talking about Ken's Tesla story. We talked about it on the stream, but the whole, the pile up on the Bay Bridge. Talking about Davos, a lot of similar stuff that we're getting into today, but really good discussion with Ken and Jordan. Was really good stuff. Finished editing that this morning. I picked up a little bit. I did some dishes. I put some clothes away. Of course, after doing all my morning stuff of like getting my son's lunch ready, getting him ready to go to school, bringing him to school. I made an appointment. I made an appointment that I needed to make. So I don't want to alarm anyone, but I'm accomplishing some big tasks over here. Big time task accomplisher you're looking at. And it feels good, doesn't it? These things that you put off. You put off these things that are like so easy and don't really take time to do. And you put them off and put them off and put them off. And then you do the things and it's like, oh, that actually was not difficult. Not only was it not difficult, but now I feel better. I feel better about myself. I feel better about my environment. Funny how that works, right? When you just do that basic task that you're avoiding. You just do it and lo and behold, you feel better and you realize that it's in fact easy. Little life advice. Little life advice for you here. Couldn't be me. Well, there's the other side of that as well. It's like, you don't need to do tasks. Who needs it? It's overrated. Some heads in HR are going to roll over letting Ken back in the office. I think Judy in HR, in the Insurgents LLC, has gotten some pretty conflicting info about this. I think she doesn't know which way is up. She's been told one thing, she's told another thing. We tell Judy that he's banned. All of a sudden, he's in the building. He's on the show. There's no consistency with the Ken ban. Even though, like we were saying, like with Elon's Ken Klippenstein ban, that was a shadow ban. We were the only ones brave enough to go full-fledged, the full ban. Which, of course, never seems to stick. Don't ask me to explain it. I don't know. I only work there. Oh shit, this is a huge scoop. This is a huge intel from Coal Mine. Fellow Patriots, I have intel that LeFraud James snuck onto the Warriors plane to DC and stole some documents from Biden. And he's going to send the docs to Xi Jinping and the government of China. Where's the outrage from the liberal media? That's a huge scoop. That is a huge scoop, Coal Mine. I don't know. Where is the outrage? It's a great question. It's a great question. Hello, Ninja Can. Yeah, that's right. Someone gifted you a sub, so now you can use animated images of me drumming and, pretending to cry and dancing, if that's what you want to do. Now you can do that. Threateningly holding a knife. Now you can do that everywhere on Twitch with those emotes. My partner was actually suggesting to me a couple minutes ago that because you weird freaks love this whole eating thing, was suggesting that I think I needed some kind of an emote of me eating an apple or a sandwich. The question is, which one would you drop? Because we only have space for a couple. I'm sure you weirdos would like that, but I really like all the animated emotes that we have, such as Trustworthy Rob. Takatoon. Oh my god, that's so horrible, that combination of emotes. Oh my goodness. You think we could lose Yacht Rock? The thing about the Yacht Rock emote is that, like, you never know when you're going to need it, I kind of feel with that like it's better to have the Yacht Rock emote and not need it than need the Yacht Rock emote and not have it. You know? I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't have the answer. Doesn't have to be animated, just like big open mouth inserting sandwich, 45-ish degree profile. I believe it was Husker Du that made an emote about me eating an eclair the other day. That could maybe function. I don't eat a lot of eclairs. It seemed like a pretty good emote though. I think the reason that the eclair emote didn't take off because I think from a distance it looks like I'm sticking a gun in my mouth, which is like that's a funny emote, but like I don't know if that's something that we want to promote. I think that's when I looked at it. That's the impression that I got. No, I know it wasn't your intention. I know it wasn't. But I think like maybe that's, I don't know. I'll try and find it in the Discord. We can see. We can test it out. We can test it out. I don't really know how to find it. Ugh. We need an emote of you doing a people's eyebrow if you can physically do it. Of course I could do a people's eyebrow. You ready for this? Call mine? How about that? Is that acceptable? Is that acceptable? You could smell what I was cooking for a moment. I can actually do my two eyebrows like this. All kinds of wacky shit I can do. I basically Jim Carrey over here. And of course it's already in the Discord. It's got a face made of rubber. I know. Not only can I mimic other, cultures with all my various accents that I can do, also just like I can do the whole Jim Carrey rubber face thing. Here's the link to it if you want. Oh. Yeah, I don't think I can upload it right now because I don't think it has a transparent back. It has a transparent background when you post it in the Discord, but when I try to save it, I don't know if it's transparent. Oh, maybe. Let's see. I know you made it transparent, Husker, but maybe sometime in the saving process it didn't work. Okay, let's see if I can do this live. Let's see if I can do this live. Let's see. Can I do this? Am I really a professional Twitch streamer or aren't I? I'm a professional Twitch streamer. I claim to do this as an actual job. It's my actual career. Can I upload this emote live? Okay, so it's more the heat from Twitch than other channels or users. Yeah, that's right. With the request for a Stalin emote, I did make a great Stalin emote one time, a laserized Stalin emote, which I did make, but for that exact reason, I didn't want to put it on because I didn't want to get the channel in trouble. Just the fact that we have Kim is insane. We've really flown under the radar with the emotes. I've seen people get their emotes banned for nothing. So I'm very surprised that we have an Enver's Hoja emote. We got Lenin, we got Che, Kim Il Sung, Ho Chi Minh, Maduro. I mean, I think that's great that we have those emotes, but I'm surprised that no one's come down on us. Anyway, folks, you should be able to now use the emote TRRS Rob Eat. Let's see if this worked. TRRS Rob Eat. Let's see if we got this. It's hard to tell what it is. It really is. That's why I was a little... I think it is funny, though. It's definitely funny, but it is hard to tell what it is. I don't know if it looks like what I was describing earlier, but... I don't know. It does look like I'm about to Cobain it. What a way to go, though. What a way to go. Death by Eclair. It was very cream-filled, I'll tell you that much. Not animated, no. Not animated. Although I have been working on a new... I'm finally working on a new alert for... This is not done yet. And not like this is going to come up that often, but I'm making a new alert for 10 sub gifters using with the VJ Prashad wow quote with another special little animation that I'm throwing together from the archives. So I am working on that. And of course everyone's been holding back on doing those 10 sub gifts because they want to wait until the emote is the alert is fully uploaded. So I understand. So as soon as that is, I'm sure I can count on community members to come through with all those 10 gift subs that they've been holding back. Yeah, that's the quote. That's the quote that's going in there, Doc. That's right. Self-crit, I didn't scream. Another crack-a-down, unlimited genocide on the first world at a white guy's funeral. I mean, that's as long as you're willing to admit that and own up to it. That's what self-criticism's all about, right? Are you learning? Are you learning and growing from these mistakes? That's the question. And I have no doubt that you are. Crying to Radiohead. Speaking of tasks I did not do, though, I did not go get groceries, which is something that I do need to do. I need to get some groceries, so I'm low on caffeine. There's going to be a low energy stream. I guess I could make coffee, and perhaps I will, because I am quite low energy right now. But for now, I got this chin chin. That's a pry bars. That's a good one. That's a good one. So look at that. We got brand new emotes. You know, one thing I mentioned that I was kind of planning this yesterday, but I think today I'm going to do something a little bit crazy. I think I'm going to do something a little bit crazy today, and I'm not exaggerating. I really am. I have more emote slots. Like there's more emote slots. I got 3 open slots, and I have 1 more tier 3 emote to add. And in fact, Lodane, our friend Lodane, has created some really cool new emotes that are going to be uploaded soon. That we're going to have, we're gonna, as many people have pointed out, I think correctly, this is talk about self-criticism, have correctly pointed out that all the emotes that of women that I have on this channel, except for the Lodane emote, are cruelly mocking them, which I think is something that we want to change. We want to include some cool and based revolutionary women throughout history into our emote slots. We got more of those coming on as well. I think with Lodane having a slot, it only makes sense to get another mod emote. That's right, a JMG emote. I would like to have mod emotes for everyone. It's a question of space, really. I'm at 26 out of 29 here. So it's if you're going to talk about that, we would be looking at taking some out. You know, you can take some out and swap them. You know, I love our Bethune emote. Do we use the Bethune emote that much in like a regular context? Not really. Perhaps we should have more emotes that are going to be used like in a regular, like just a regular context. Like the Maduro emote can be used when you're talking about Maduro or when you're talking about anyone who is not an actual journalist, you know? That works in any context. And in fact, I should change the title of it to TRRS, not a journalist. You know? We'll think about this. Okay? Let's put a pin in this. Hey, Lana, how's it going? Okay, so I'm going to do something a little bit crazy today. And I was serious about this. So let's go to this video that I had to look at. Okay, hold on. I wasn't messing around here.
Some leftist based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
I'm fixing to do something stupid. Hello, Zach. Zach, thank you for the raid. Welcome, raiders. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Zach. How was the stream today? Thank you for the raid. I appreciate it a lot. I'm Rob. Hello. I'm a socialist and anti-imperialist streamer here in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Thank you for joining us. I'm just about to do something pretty wild over here. Okay? Are you ready for this? I mentioned this yesterday, but here we go. I'm going to do something crazy. First, we're going to watch this little video. Okay? We're going to watch a little video from Canadian Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre. All right? Here's this tweet from Pierre that I saw today that I'm getting constantly in my Twitter For You page because Elon has determined that I really want to hear from this guy all the time. So Pierre says, we have all kinds of voices in our big, wide open country. We need to speak with all of them, not just with the Ottawa media establishment. That's what Pierre says. Let's hear this too.
You've been highly criticized for limiting the amount of questions you take from the media.
Here I am right now.
We're sitting here right now, and just so my viewers know, I was given 0 restrictions on this interview. Right. I had as much time as I wanted. I could ask any questions. I did not give you questions in advance. So, I mean, it seems very night and day. Why are you selective in who you decide to do this with?
Well, listen, the media in Ottawa is largely government funded, and they basically regurgitate Justin Trudeau's talking points. So I talk to more independent voices. I go out and speak to multicultural media, rural media, social media platforms that allow me to be unfiltered and talk directly to Canadians. I don't think that a small group of gatekeepers who are dependent on Justin Trudeau for handouts and for favorable regulations is the best way to get my message out. So I want to empower everybody. We live in a big, free, open country. It's not just Ottawa insiders who will have a voice when I'm Prime Minister. It's the everyday common women and men that are going to take back control of their lives and their country.
Well, we appreciate that, but you talk about the gatekeepers. Are you not being a bit of a gatekeeper there?
Here I am right now. I'm taking all of your questions. I've done interviews with other media outlets earlier today, and I do them with all kinds of voices, not just liberal insiders who regurgitate Justin Trudeau's talking points, and that's what you frankly get from the Liberal Press Gallery on Parliament Hill. So I'm here to talk to everyday Canadians, and I do interviews with organizations that Justin Trudeau won't talk to because he knows that they won't carry his water. He just wants liberal media on the Parliamentary Press Gallery who are largely been bailed out by him using tax dollars and depending on him for more bailouts. And obviously they're going to support Justin Trudeau. I stand up for the common women and men of this country. I'm fighting for their paychecks, their savings, their homes, their country, and those are the people I'm going to talk with.
So if Pierre Poilievre is serious about this, I go out and talk to social media platforms that allow me to be unfiltered, he says. If this is the case, if Pierre Poilievre is really interested in getting his viewpoint out there to average folks, well, I happen to have one of the largest independent media platforms in the country of Canada. And I'm not a liberal insider. I'm just an average Canadian. I'm a citizen journalist. I'm in independent media. And frankly, I would be more than happy if Pierre was interested in this. If he's actually serious about this, I would be interested in having a civil discussion with Pierre Poilievre, where I will not be certainly regurgitating Justin Trudeau talking points. I think everyone knows that about me, that's not something that I'm going to be engaging in. I'm certainly not funded by the Canadian government. And Pierre really makes a big show of being able to talk about these common sense economic issues, the kitchen table issues affecting average folks. He wants to go out and talk to all kinds of interesting, diverse viewpoints. Well, if that's really true, and once again, I'm not just some random guy. I have got one of the biggest social media and independent journalistic platforms in this country. So if Pierre's actually serious about that, I would like to invite him to come on this program to have not a debate, because I don't debate. I don't think anything would be gained from me debating Pierre Poilievre or anyone else really about any issue, but a discussion about the economic issues that Pierre seems to identify. And we hear often in our mainstream media how much he's willing to talk about these common sense issues, and the solutions that he's actually promoting or promising are going to resolve these issues or help alleviate these economic issues for Canadians in this country, such as the housing crisis, which Pierre himself has been talking about a lot lately. So if Pierre's actually interested about this, in having a civil discussion with someone from the other side of the ideological spectrum, an independent journalist here in Canada, I'd like to cordially invite Pierre Poilievre, Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre, to come and have a discussion with me on this program. And I know that, like, if he's going to talk about this and say he's willing to do this kind of stuff, for him to, I think, turn down an invitation from an independent journalist with one of the largest platforms in this country, I think would be saying a lot about how actually serious he is about being able to advance these ideas or talk about these ideas. So let's see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But that is my cordial invite to Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre to have a little discussion right here on twitch.tv/Rob Rousseau on TRRS. Twitch's only two-dimensional trickle-down clout distribution and friendship access tiered reward system. The only such system that exists on this entire platform. The two-dimensional parasocial simulator. That's a good one. I like that. So that's all. That's all. You know? No, I wouldn't hate it if anyone reached out to Pierre about this. I'm still kind of anxious about doing it. I don't know if it's a stupid thing to do. This man's a professional politician. I don't know if this is going to go. I don't know if this would go well. I feel obviously very confident and set in my ideas about the way that our society and our economy should be organized. This guy's a career politician, as much as he tries to rail against career politicians or suggest somehow that he's like an outside the establishment figure, despite being a politician for, decades now. So I don't know if it's a good idea on my part. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. But if this guy is serious about talking about these common sense economic issues, I would love to have a conversation about some of these economic issues. We watched a couple months ago that conversation that Pierre Poilievre had with Jordan Peterson, and nothing of value was gained, or no solutions were offered to any of these things. Nothing but warmed over the same old conservative trickle-down economics and austerity. That seems to be all it is with Pierre Poilievre, despite him getting all this credit for, again, talking about these common sense economic issues. All I ever hear from Pierre Poilievre and other conservatives are the same old conservative platitudes. So if Pierre has anything more to offer than platitudes and is actually interested in making things better for Canadians or others who are indeed economically hurting right now, who are not able to purchase homes, who are facing a bleak future with the environment, who are dealing with a number of different crises and an emerging number of crises every single day, then if he's serious about that, I'd be more than happy to have that conversation right here on this program. Real talk, I do have some reservations about giving him even more of a platform, so going in, you have to have a very clear idea of what you want the conversation to go and not deviate from it and not let him do his usual routine. Yeah, I think we would need to do some kind of prep, Lana, because I do have ideas about exactly the kind of conversation that I would like to have with Pierre Poilievre and exactly how to do that. So I would need to be on my fucking A game. But I don't know. But again, giving him more of a platform, I'm not really worried about that. What I'm more worried about is being humiliated myself and fucking up and being made to look like an idiot. That's more what I'm concerned about. He's already the leader of the Conservative Party. There's a decent chance he's the next prime minister of this country. I think me giving him a platform isn't going to really impact that in any way, but I don't want to give him any kind of win or put him in any kind of situation where he can spin it as being some owns some online socialist or whatever. Yeah, that's okay. So I know what you mean, Lana, and honestly, I'm a little nervous about it too. But I have a pretty strong idea of how I would want that conversation to go, and I think I would be definitely interested in developing kind of a game plan and making sure that that game plan is stuck to, and not giving him any opportunities to get any sound bites or little clips that he can share. And of course, if Pierre or Pierre's team is taking a look at this stream right now, if that's something that they think they can pull off, I mean, by all means, there's the opportunity. There's the opportunity. But I have a pretty good idea about how I would want that conversation to go. And I'm pretty confident that I could make my viewpoint understood to everyone watching, anyone that happened to tune in. So that's kind of exciting. That's kind of exciting, wasn't it? That's kind of fun. Right? This is fun. And like, again, I'm not going to debate. I'm not turning over like a debate leaf. I'm not going to start doing this kind of stuff. But, you know, he's the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. He's talking this big game about talking to independent journalists. So I want to know if they're actually serious about that or not. These MFs can't even stand up to vulgar Marxism. They're too high on their own farts. Well, this is the issue, is that like our political class and our you know, we live in a politically illiterate country, and Pierre Poilievre and Justin Trudeau both feed into that. Where Pierre Poilievre thinks that anything that like anyone that's going to criticize his viewpoint is automatically a liberal who supports Justin Trudeau, which, as you all know with me, is not the case. And in fact, I viewed Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre and the NDP of being part of a corrupt ruling class political establishment that might have a few different viewpoints about how things should be organized in our society, little tweaks around the edges, but ultimately are more than happy to give the logging companies, the mining companies, the telecoms, the grocery monopolies, the fossil fuel companies, giving them full run of the country. I think all our major parties are in complete agreement about this. And if Pierre Poilievre is like interested in talking about like Canadians' prices for grocery stores or for housing or anything like that, but isn't interested in decommodifying housing, or isn't interested in clawing back some of the billions of dollars of profits like the families like the Weston family are earning with their grocery monopolies in this country, or the telecom monopolies that everyone hates. And if you were actually a populist that cared about working people, you'd maybe be pushing back on these telecom monopolies or trying to do what you can to offer some kind of public alternative. But of course, Pierre doesn't agree with any of that. Anyway, I have more questions for Pierre Poilievre, but I don't want to put it all out here right now so they can prepare answers for it if anyone from his team happens to take this seriously. And I don't think they will. To be clear. But I'm not going to put everything that I have in mind out there right now so they can prepare little bullet points to refute every single thing that I'm saying. So I'm going to leave it at that. But I would be more than happy to host Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre on this channel. Once again, one of the largest social media platforms in this country. I know that doesn't ever seem to translate into me getting any kind of a voice in mainstream media in this country, because the things that I have to say are so far outside the ideological boundaries that we've set in terms of our like so-called freedom of speech and freedom of expression. I know my large platform that's larger than most journalists in this fucking country hasn't amounted to me getting one iota of a voice in our mainstream media. But regardless, it still is one of the largest social media platforms for any journalist in this country. So if Pierre Poilievre is serious about getting his message out there in these alternative ways, I'd be more than happy to host him on this. Yeah, the goal would not be to make him hang up, definitely. or to turn into a shouting match or just like talking over. Like that's just like zero interest in that. Zero interest in that. But again, it should be easy, right? It should be easy for Pierre Poilievre. He's a seasoned politician. He's a lawyer, like every one of our, ruling class political leaders. He should have no problem just wiping the floor with it. I'm just some schmuck, I sit here and like eat apples on live stream. He should have no problem just totally wiping the floor with me. So it would actually be odd to me if they didn't want to do this. Because it seems just like it should be an easy win for them. I'm some random podcaster. I have an English lit degree and I'm a former failed rock star. That's my pedigree. That's my pedigree in my independent media career. It should be no problem for them. Should be no problem for Pierre to just come on here and totally wipe the floor with me. So if they ask for examples of TRRS, you just send a 60-minute supercut of eating, or just this. If they want to know what TRRS is about, and again, if anyone from Pierre's team is watching this and you want to know what this program is about, here, this is what it is. It's this. So, right, it should be no problem for them. It should be no problem. Right? Just 4 hours of this 5 days a week. If some of you weirdos would probably like that, wouldn't you? This should be mainstream media. I agree. I agree. It was a good sandwich, Sam Cider. It was very good. In fact, I wish I had some more of that croissant sandwich bread and fancy salami that I was eating at that moment. Rob, as you know, my team made sure that everything was on the up and up for this interview, and it seems to me that you know more about body slams and ankle locks and how an economy works. That's what I'm here to do, make the economy work for the hard-working men and women of our great country. By the way, RIP to Jay Briscoe. Really tragic loss in the world of pro wrestling. Jay Briscoe. Prayers up for Jay Briscoe and his family. I was very fortunate. I feel very fortunate. I got a chance to see Jay live at ROH Global Wars in Toronto in like 2014. Really, just an incredibly talented performer. Yeah, I don't super want to get into that aspect, Ron. I think definitely his his comments that leaked, his like bigoted comments that leaked 10 years ago or so, or whatever, are going to be a part of his legacy, And it's like it sucks. I guess I was still just very moved by seeing all the different people that had worked with him and knew him over the years reacting last night, and how much everyone seemed to be affected by it, including even wrestlers like in the LGBTQ community that were like, he treated me with such with dignity and respect and was very kind to me. And I just saw videos of him with like his family. He apparently evolved since that time. I would like to think so. I think he's asked for forgiveness and apologized for it, which is the least he could do. It's not like he hadn't paid for it. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know what more you could really ask for from someone that I think is from that environment. You know, and I saw the video of him practicing like cheer routines with his daughter and stuff. It was just very sad. And just the level of talent that he had, which was never really recognized on the level that it should be. We probably won't talk about the Briscoe brothers like one of the all-time great pro wrestling tag teams, and we probably should. Multi-time ROH champion as well, Jay Briscoe. I don't know. Very sad. R.I.P. to Jay Briscoe. That was a pretty crazy start to the stream. I wonder if that's gonna mean anything. I was just thinking about that, and like we know, folks, we don't want to debate. I don't want to get in some bullshit shouting match with a conservative politician. I do need to think about growing this stream though and growing this community, and I would like someone, and maybe this is part of just me feeling like annoyed in general or not recognized enough. I would like someone in the media establishment in this country to maybe eventually take a look at what I'm doing over here and realize that I am doing something kind of interesting, or that I should have maybe a space in our precious mainstream marketplace of ideas. You know, I would like someone to like pay attention to this, to what I'm doing either here or on Twitter. You know, because I think it's a little frustrating. We hear about our precious, this marketplace of ideas and our free press, our free media that we hear about all the time. And I feel like my voice is just completely shut out. I mean, many people's voices, much people that are more significant than me are shut out as well. But I just mean just in pure terms of like the platform that I've been able to build over here on Twitch and Twitter. You know, I would like someone in our media to maybe pay attention to that. And I feel like that would be one way to do that, is to see if I can create any kind of a moment like that would make people pay attention. I'm telling all my online and IRL friends about this stream, trying to get them on. Thank you, Lennon Smash. I appreciate that. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. I really appreciate everyone that tunes into this program. The more on Twitch I've grown, the more lonely I sometimes feel. It do be like that, doesn't it, Zach? With social media in general. YouTube shorts of you eating. I did just release a YouTube short today. These are other things. If you're interested in like helping out this stream, these are other things you can do also. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. I also mentioned yesterday I'm starting to do TikToks again. I'm going to start doing like a couple of TikToks and YouTube shorts every week. I got some like software to like start doing that and easily create these like shareable videos for TikTok and YouTube shorts. Censor the internet. Have you seen the internet lately? Folks, have you seen the fucking internet lately? You're telling me that censoring the internet would not be there's you, chat. Great thing? Look what it's doing to our society and our culture. Have you checked in with your parents lately? Have you checked into this shit that your parents are looking at on Facebook and YouTube lately? It's not good. Your gams. Have you checked in with Gam lately? Do you know the kind of fucking crazy shit that she's looking at on Facebook? We've lost an entire generation of gams over here, and we're debating whether it would be a good idea to maybe think about censoring the internet. Come on now. See? But I'm going to start doing these a couple times a week. I really want to try and grow this stream. So I'm going to start trying to see what I can do to do that. So I would, if you're watching and that's one of the things you want to help out with, you can subscribe, follow me over on TikTok, and follow also the YouTube channel, and just give some likes and hearts and thumbs up and comments when you see these videos, which cost nothing at all, and it's very, very helpful. It's very, very helpful to boost that old algorithm there. So please do those two things. Engagement is free and very, very helpful. And I know many of you do a lot for this stream already, and believe me, I appreciate it a lot. But that's one other thing you can do that takes very little time and is very, very helpful.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Hey, look at that. A brand new community member, CGJVDP. Thank you, CGJVDP. Very difficult to say for the tier 1 sub. Brand new community member. Thank you. And I told people that I was going to be hard ass today about this because yesterday the sub goal was a little bit of a disaster. But I can't do it. I can't do it. I just can't be sometimes I try to be a hard ass about it, and I'll do a little pitch later to try and get people to subscribe to the channel. But as always, I'm very conflicted about that because
you can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
People are, like the regulars, the people that tune into this channel are already very, very, very generous. And it always comes across like I don't appreciate it or that I'm being, greedy or whatever. It's just fucking inescapable. But
you can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Sorry to grab him. I'm just so sick of the debate ecosystem taking up so much space. Well, I am too, Lana.
TRRS
as I talk about often, right? I'm extremely sick of that too, and I don't want to contribute to that in any way. So I'm trying to kind of think about ways that I can grow this channel and grow this community while maybe accomplishing something worthwhile, while not really contributing to that debate ecosystem at all, because I have no interest in that either. Thank you, James, for the 26 months of tier 1. Getting up there in the months. That's great, James. Thank you for that resub. Thank you, Hey Antonia, for the 13 months of tier 1. And thank you, Lennon Smesh, for the gifted sub. Happy to have you in the community, Lennon Smesh, as well. Relatively new community member over here. In my heart, there's nothing left to be debated. How we spread the fire is my goal. I guess that's my goal as well, right? And it's like, that's the point, is that if I were able to create any kind of a moment with a conservative politician, if I can do that, then I raise the likelihood that more people in this country are going to hear what I have to say about these issues, realize that my beliefs on this lie pretty far outside the mainstream.
You've just become
and perhaps
a member
might
of the friendship triangle.
Start to realize that there's an alternative out there. There's an actual alternative. Gen X Bushy, thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs. I really appreciate that, Gen X Bushy. 412 gifted subs in the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Gen X Bushy. We should be putting forward an affirmative case and a positive program for our ideology, not just yelling at each other over settled questions. Yeah, I have zero interest in doing that. Zero interest in doing that whatsoever. So we'll see how it goes. Again, I'm not expecting Pierre Polyev to come on this show. Was Keem faking it or something? I missed it. It seemed fake when I saw his tweets. I just don't, who cares? Like, honestly, even if Keemstar, I don't even want to talk about this really, but even if fucking Keemstar was having some kind of a change of heart because the underage girls that he's dating are changing his mind on trans issues, like what is gained from bringing him on to talk about this? And I saw people were mad at Kevils for doing this, and then she had a very she'd put out this apology video that was basically just telling people to fuck themselves without using those words. And I don't know. It's just what's the purpose of doing that? Why? And I understand why, because that's how you end up with a gigantic Twitch account that turns into a sustainable career. So I understand why, but it's just depressing. You don't need to talk to Keemstar. There's just no reason to do that. There's just zero reason, in my opinion, to do that. No, I agree that it's not giving him a big platform that matters. I agree. He's got a huge platform already. I don't know. People could do it. People can obviously do what they want. And it's not really for me, though. I really just want to avoid that whole the drama cycle, and then the reacts, the debates, the reacts, and the nonstop fucking hamster wheel of this kind of like content. It's just, I don't think it really accomplishes anything except boost the profiles of the people that are involved, The last thing I want to view on TTV is reaction response videos on other react response videos. It's a hellhole of people getting mad for the sake of getting mad. Thanks for not wanting to be a part of it. It's just depressing. It's just depressing. It's not about whether it's helping his platform. It's about that they're pushing a dumb drama that's mutually profitable to both of them at the expense of the topic. Yeah. Anyway, 90 seconds left in this hype train, folks. We got a hype train, a level 3 hype train. Do I hear level 4? A few generous chatters could get us to level 4 of this hype train. And then I could stop doing this. Once this hype train's over, I can move on to talking about
use
stuff.
The computer to mark up the size of the account.
Thank you for the 100 friend coin, Froggy Mana. How do you feel about Fukuyama? I think, his main thing that he was known for was like the end of history idea.
Good old Rob to talk you through all this.
And he was proven pretty disastrously wrong about the whole end of history concept. So that to me, if you're like a mainstream philosopher or like commentator, and the main thing that you're known for is being catastrophically wrong, I think that kind of like you lose some credibility.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
But people like Fukuyama that run in these kind of elite circles just fail up time and time again. Rob will only debate whether or not the Avatar series is good, and he always upholds Marxism, Avatarism. When VJ comes back on, I do plan on asking VJ Prashad about Avatar. That is one thing I definitely plan on doing. Thank you, Comrade Social Distancing, so much for the 2 gifted subs. Thank you. Thank you, Part Ian, as well, for the gifted sub. Thank you, Part Ian. And you know what, Part Ian? I think you gifted a sub the other day, and I was rewatching it, and I think that I forgot to say thank you.
Talk you through all this.
Am I crazy about that? If so, I apologize to Part Ian. Thank you for the gifted sub. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you, Perfect Speller, for the 100 friend coin. And thank you, Iron Forward, as well, for the 2 gifted subs. Thank you, Iron. Thank you. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you, folks. Thank you for supporting this program. I really, really appreciate it. Let's talk about this Elon thing, okay? Let's talk about this Elon issue. Once again, I don't want to turn this into like the looking at my own tweets hour, but I do have a tweet about this that I think is important to look at. And it's going fairly viral too, which is good. I'm glad people are seeing this. So here's the question, and this is something we've talked about often, but this news story dropped yesterday that I think is more evidence of a serious crime that Elon Musk has committed. So let's take a look at this, okay? Here's my tweet from today. I said I'm not a legal expert or anything, but I'm pretty sure this is a crime. This was Elon, I believe it was in 2021 he said this. We talked about this the other day. He said, Elon Musk says Tesla is worth basically zero if it cannot make its cars self-driving. Elon Musk has said that Tesla's value is significantly dependent on whether it can develop self-driving technology. Otherwise, the company is, quote, worth basically zero. So, I mean, Elon became the richest man in the world, not on like running a successful company. They were maybe the first to, they were maybe innovators in this EV space for a time. And we've talked about Elon's skill with like promoting himself and promoting the company. But became the richest man in the world primarily off of these claims that Tesla was going to be able to have full AI self-driving, which he claimed, I believe he started saying this in 2014. It's coming in 2016, and every year is getting pushed back. You know, this man was saying 10 years ago, oh yeah, by 2023, not only we're going to have full AI self-driving cars, but you buy a Tesla, it's going to be able to drive you around totally independently without you, just like in the movies, just like in the science fiction movies that you've seen. Your Tesla is going to be driving you around, and it's going to drop you off at your home, and then it's going to go drive around even more and pick up other people and bring them around, drive them around, and be a little Uber for you that you don't even have to be there for. It's going to make you money. This is the kind of thing that Elon Musk was saying 10 years ago. And here we are 10 years later, and this technology still, as we're seeing time and time again, does not exist, does not work. And in fact, I really encourage people to listen to the Insurgents podcast that just came out today with Ken Klippenstein, where we talked to Ken about the story that he did on this, about the accident that we covered the other day on the Bay Bridge on, I believe, Thanksgiving Day, when there was that collision on the Bay Bridge because of this fake self-driving technology. And Ken has done a lot of research about this to talk about, there's even industry lobbyists are begging Tesla to stop using this kind of language about full self-driving because it does not exist. Any other company that's remotely associated with this kind of technology is using driver assistance or that kind of language. Elon Musk still using this self-driving auto drive kind of language, which he did famously the day of that collision when the beta, the self-driving beta, was released to everyone. Right? Let's in fact look at that before we move on. Okay? Let's look at this before we move on. So here's the surveillance footage from the crash. We can take a look at that again if we want. You'll see it right on the right-hand side, just pulling over, slamming on the brakes right in front of a car and causing this huge pileup on the Bay Bridge, which thankfully no one was killed in. That very morning, Elon says Tesla full self-driving beta is now available to anyone in North America who requests it from the car screen, assuming you've bought this option. Congrats to Tesla Autopilot AI team on achieving a major milestone. This was Elon's tweet that day, the day of that accident. And here's the story that came out yesterday about this. So again, the point that I'm trying to make here, setting the table for this here, is that Elon's claims about self-driving have been the main factor in Tesla's hugely inflated stock price, which has led to Elon becoming the richest man in the world. And Tesla stock, it's like a central cog in our entire kind of scam economy, right?
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
What is this? Who is this? Lennon Smith, thank you for another gifted sub. Very kind of you. Thank you. So here's the next part of this story. This is what came out yesterday. So, again, just to reiterate, point one. Point one is that this is the reason that Tesla's stock price is so inflated. This is why it's so valuable. This is why Elon's the richest man in the world. Because of these claims about self-driving. Here's the story that came out yesterday. Tesla engineer says company faked full autopilot video. Let's look at this. Let's zoom in on the story right here. This is with CBS News. This is not some random independent media outlet that Musk claims to care about. Tesla engineer says company faked full autopilot video. A Tesla video purporting to demonstrate the automaker's self-driving capability was actually staged, according to claims from a senior engineer at the company reported by Reuters. The video was shared in a 2016 blog post titled Full Self-Driving Hardware on All Teslas that is still available. Before the nearly 4-minute video begins, the screen flashes text reading. The person in the driver's seat is only there for legal reasons. He's not doing anything. The car is driving itself. The video then shows a Tesla pulling out of a driveway, stopping at intersections and red lights, traveling on a highway, delivering a person to an office complex, and then parallel parking itself, set to the sound of the Rolling Stones, Painted Black. The driver's hands hovered just below the steering wheel for the duration of the video. CEO Elon Musk promoted the demonstration on Twitter, writing, "Tesla drives itself. No human input at all." Here's the tweet from October 20th, 2016. Tesla drives itself. No human input at all, through urban streets to highway to streets, then finds a parking spot. But a senior engineer now says the footage was staged. Reuters reported Tuesday. The news service cited a deposition from Ashok Eluswamy, the company's director of autopilot software, that was taken as part of a lawsuit over a driver's 2018 death in a Tesla. Here's the quote. So tell me if this is lamestream corporate media running a hit piece on Elon or not, okay? The intent of the video was not to accurately portray what was available for customers in 2016. It was to portray what was possible to build into the system, Aluswamy said, according to a transcript of his deposition cited by Reuters. So let's look at that. Let's look at that quote in context. The intent of the video was not to accurately portray what was available for customers in 2016. It was to portray what was possible to build into the system. Let's look at Musk's tweet. Sorry, not that one, this one. Tesla drives itself. No human input at all. Through urban streets to highway to streets, then finds a parking spot. That's Elon's tweet. Eluswamy said that the car was driving a predetermined route in the video and that drivers intervened to take control during trial runs. Drivers intervened to take control during trial runs, Reuters reported. He also testified that during attempts to show the Model X could park itself without a driver, a test car crashed into a fence in Tesla's parking lot, Reuters reported. Tesla did not immediately respond to a request for comment on its website. The company cautions that until truly driverless cars are validated and approved by regulators, drivers are responsible for and must remain in control of their car at all times. And this is what we were talking about with Ken in the podcast the other day as well, which once again, I would encourage people to please subscribe to the Insurgents podcast to listen to that. But the language that they use in court and this kind of language that they use in the fine print is very, very different from what they suggest to consumers with this kind of full self-driving language, right? Very, very different things. Let's look at this video, okay? While keeping this all in mind. I'm not going to put on the music because it's copyrighted music, but here's the video. It's still available on Tesla.com. Full self-driving hardware on all Teslas. That's the title of the video. Let's take a look at this. I'll put on some different music. The person in the driver's seat is only there for legal reasons. He's not doing anything. The car is driving itself. Driving all over the highway. God, this would be fucking terrifying. Want transport but don't want to drive yourself? Try a train or a bus. There you go. This already exists. Now is this finding parking?
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Oh my goodness, Christine, thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs. Christine, that's so kind of you. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. Christine. I'm just trying to expose Elon Musk and trying to expose Elon Musk's rampant criminality over here. Oh, now it's doing it's parallel parking itself. Wow, look at that. Just parallel parked itself. Very remarkable. This is 2016 they put out this video. 2016 they put out this video. Once the Tesla drops you off, it stalks the streets for small children to feed its bloodlust. Yeah. Again, yeah, it sees the small children in the crosswalk, and immediately the like Kill Bill sirens start going off. Like the Terminator, you know, you see that Terminator vision when you see the little target reticule going around the screen. Beep, 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 beep. That's what it does. So here's the question that I have. Okay? Here's my question about this. In what way is this not fraud? Isn't this just an open and shut case of knowingly lying and misleading investors and consumers? And not just the people that buy the cars, the people that are investing in Tesla as a company, the people that are inflating Tesla's stock value to the extent that it has become inflated. Here's another question. He's extremely rich, so no. And normally I would agree with you. Here's another question. In what way is Elon Musk lying, deliberately and knowingly lying about their full self-driving technology, which did not exist, in an effort to, get the funding, the stock price inflation? In what way is that different from Elizabeth Holmes of Theranos knowingly and deliberately lying about the blood analysis technology that Theranos was going to be able to invent or innovate? In what way is this different? You have two powerful tech CEOs knowingly lying and misleading investors based on technology that they thought that they could just speak into existence. And the more time they said it was going to be real, the more that the engineers for the company could just invent it. As we saw in Elizabeth Holmes' case, did not turn out to be the case. She is now a convicted felon over this. How is this any different? I'm actually cool with investors' money getting flushed down a toilet. Yes, but I think we can laugh at that while also advocating for Elon to actually have legal consequences for what seems to me to be an obvious crime. And as we're talking about as well, we can make fun of like tech bro Tesla investors. We can and shouldn't make fun of those people. But Tesla's inflated stock price, like who's investing in that? It's not just tech bros. It's retirement funds. It's investment funds, unions. There's all kinds of folks that see this stock price going up and want to like invest in this hot new stock, this tech stock. They get sold to them by people like Elon Musk. And there's average people that have their savings tied up in these investments. So it's not just a matter of these like wealthy, annoying Silicon Valley tech bros that are investing in these companies. It's average people are being defrauded here, right? Here's 5 days ago. Look at this. June, to reiterate what I'm saying right now. A story to reiterate exactly what I'm saying right now. Look. From 2019, 3 years after this claim was made, Ontario Teachers Pension Plan announces investment in Elon Musk SpaceX. Let me see if there's a mention of Tesla in there as well. Okay, I actually clicked on the wrong story, and I apologize. Bear with me. The story that I meant to click on here, which coincides with what I was saying, which is that the Teachers Fund also, not only did they invest in SpaceX, which you might argue is a more stable investment, but also invested into Tesla. This is from 5 days ago. Ontario Teachers Pension Plan Board closes position in Tesla Motors. These are the investments into Tesla Motors from the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan Board. So you know what I mean? Yes, we can laugh at wealthy tech bros and VC investors losing everything on this, but it's not just those people. And again, our whole scam economy is tied to this artificially inflated stock price. So it's the livelihoods of millions of working class people that have nothing to do with investing, that don't even make these decisions about where these investments are being made. Are going to lose everything on this. You know, if it does crash, which it should, considering, as I've been pointing out, it is based entirely on fraud. And that's not even Elon Musk, right? This is the whole Silicon Valley business model. This is the entire Silicon Valley business model. So yeah, what is the difference? What's the difference between an Elon Musk and a Sam Bankman-Fried? Who Elon Musk even famously said that he knew was full of shit. What's the difference between Elon Musk and Elizabeth Holmes? I don't want to pull the sexism card here, but people were joking around saying they hate to see a girl boss winning. Part of that is true, though. Why is Elizabeth Holmes getting persecuted, but Elon Musk is not? What is the real difference? And in fact, I would argue that one of the major differences between what Elon Musk has done with Tesla and what Elizabeth Holmes did with Theranos is that Tesla is a much more significant part of our global economy than Theranos was. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. For a while, Elizabeth Holmes was a billionaire, was not the richest person in the world. You know, Elon and Tesla and Elon's companies have an even larger footprint on our broader society and culture than Theranos did. Elon Musk is disrupting transit projects for this, again, another fake technology, which he completely lied about. The Hyperloop technology, which has devolved, as I've been covering on the show numerous times, has devolved from this futuristic vacuum sealed series of tubes, or this like underground network of tunnels with automated Teslas running on tracks at 200 kilometers per hour, which has devolved into a hole in the ground with a tunnel with bisexual lighting and a single car being driven by a human being at 30 kilometers per hour, whatever it is. Another technology which is completely lied about. Completely fraudulent technology. And he's literally impacted the possibility of high-speed rail or other possible public transit networks that could have been established or invested in that time. So Elon Musk has a significantly more sizable impact on our broader economy and culture than Elizabeth Holmes ever could have hoped to. with Theranos. Elizabeth Holmes is going to jail for the Theranos fraud. What is going on with Elon Musk? What is the difference between the fraud that he perpetrated and the fraud that she perpetrated? I'm not so sure there is much of a difference, except what I was outlining as Elon's like sizable impact on the global economy and our culture. That is the question. That is the question that I'd like to ask here. Elon helping weaken the U.S. position. I see it as a net win. Well, you can see that as a net win, while also wanting him to have some kind of consequences for defrauding the investors. Like, this just seems like a classic, clear-cut case of fraud. They lied. They lied to consumers and they lied to investors about what this technology was capable of, when it was going to be available. This is what led to Elon becoming the richest man in the world. It's had a number of enormous consequences in our society and our culture. It has enormous impact on our economy. You know, this is known as a crime. This is a crime. She robbed the rich. Elon is robbing mostly the general public. That's why. But that's not true. There's rich people that have money tied up in Tesla as well. Of course there is. Like, look at the banks have been funneling billions of dollars to this man. Like, they even bailed him out of this like meme Twitter price that he agreed to pay for Twitter which was vastly overpaid for what Twitter was worth. He's getting billions of dollars in loans from banks to make these deals. He's getting billions of dollars of subsidies from the US government because he's promising this like green tech, green automobile future. You know, it's not, he's defrauding average people, certainly, but he's also defrauding very powerful and wealthy people at the same time. Seems like it's bad when a single liar can have this much effect on the entire world economy. No, and not to bring everything back to this, but yeah, wouldn't it be horrible and dystopian and authoritarian to live in a society where when this was discovered, this person would go missing or would show up a couple weeks later in a prison jumpsuit apologizing to the citizens of the country after having all their assets stripped away? Can you imagine living in such a terrible dystopian nightmare where something like that might happen? He's also a sex offender and no one cares. Again, I think that if you want to make the sexism argument, it's not too difficult. No, it's not it's not difficult at all. And that's what I meant when I talk about Elizabeth Holmes and make that comparison. It's not to say that Elizabeth Holmes did nothing wrong, which is not something that I agree with, but it's the fact that if Elon Musk did something extremely similar or even worse than the wrong, illegal thing that Elizabeth Holmes did, he should probably get some of, or probably even more of, the same level of consequences that she's had to go through. I think Elon will ultimately be charged with fraud. It's going to take a long time, but when it happens, it's going to make the Enron collapse look like the very small potatoes indeed. But who's going to charge him with fraud? And, you know, this is the thing: is the government going to go? Are the regulators going to go after him? Is Mayor Pete going to be the one? Is he going to have some stern words? Is Mayor Pete going to come out and, you know, do something about this? I'm not so sure. I am not so sure. Yeah, oh boy, can you really imagine how terrible it would be if the state was actually, because imagine in this fantasy world, this made up fantasy world where the state had more power than capital and wasn't totally subservient to capital, if the state could now step in and be like, you're done, and nationalize his companies and seize his assets. You know, that seems to me like an appropriate solution here, but unfortunately we call that kind of thing authoritarian in our society. I think that would actually be a wonderful solution to this issue. I think the SEC, honestly, Tesla being unable to produce self-drive, then GM lobbyists will finally go for Elon's jugular. Maybe you're right. I would certainly be overjoyed if this man actually experienced some consequences for this like massive scale fraud, like one of the largest scale frauds that we've seen in our society in modern history is what we're describing here. I think the governments and industries that have him over the barrel, hope Elon just gets offed. Then they could reclaim their losses in some way. As we were talking about the other day, just as long as he stays out of those Saudi embassies, you got to stay out of there. So I don't know, folks. If we lived in a society, again, I like to come back to this because we always have our political leaders in Canada or the United States lecturing other countries about what it is to have like a free society and a justice system and these things. And if that were true, I would like to see that actually applied in this case. Otherwise, I would like people to stop lecturing other countries about how in our precious democracy and our precious system of laws and checks and balances, if I've learned anything from recent history, a new, more annoying billionaire will rise from Musk's ashes. I mean, that certainly does seem like a possibility.
You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Weenus, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Weenus, for the gifted sub to Law Librarian. Isn't Starlink pretty embedded into the intelligence world's infrastructure? Yes, I think that's true. Because that's also subsidized. That's subsidized by like the Department of Defense, all that stuff. Like really, he's only there to provide this veneer of private sector involvement in these things. Really, it's like the Department of Defense funding a lot of this stuff, and then just giving it to Elon to run, so we can maintain this like facade that you know there's private industry that's innovating and developing these things. Wouldn't it be funny if Elon mysteriously died in a car accident? Well, obviously, Lana, I support all human life, and I would never laugh at anyone's misfortune like that. But if others would want to do that, then I wouldn't stop them. I do believe in freedom of speech in this community, and I certainly wouldn't stop anyone from laughing at something like that. Not that I'm better than that. I'm just saying it would be interesting. It would be certainly very interesting. It would be very interesting. There's no denying that. SpaceX is private, and they do actually innovate significantly different than how Artemis is developed. I mean, this is the thing, Froggy Mino. I've had people make this argument to me before and talk about the people that are in SpaceX. What I don't understand, though, is what is the purpose? Why doesn't the government or the state just pay these engineers and have a space program or a rocket program if that's what they want to do? Why have this middleman? Why have this corporate middleman? What is Musk bringing to the table? Why not just hire these engineers directly to work for your rocket program if that's what you want to do? What is Musk actually doing? He's not actually building any of the rockets. He's not an engineer. He does not know how any of this shit works. Why does the US government subsidize SpaceX and then use their technology? Why don't they just use that money that they're investing into SpaceX and develop and innovate the technology themselves with the same people? That is the question. What is the purpose of having these private entities involved whatsoever? Not even when it comes to this space exploration and rocketry and this kind of thing, but when it comes to anything, anytime we have this public-private partnership, infrastructure, healthcare, insurance, why are there private entities involved in any of these things? These are the questions we should be asking. But this is what I want to point out. The only solutions are market-based solutions. That's right. That's all we have to offer. That's all we have to ever have to offer. But these are the things. I mean, this is what I wanted to talk about on this segment. This is what I was mentioning in this tweet. This is a crime. Elon Musk, in this case, has deliberately, knowingly lied about the technology that Tesla is capable of. Deliberately and knowingly misled people. As we saw, what is this? Why am I on this help page now? I did not mean to do that. You know, this is fraud. This is a crime. So the question is, will it be treated as such? That's the question that I have now. I'm going to take a short break, okay? I'm going to take a short little break to stretch my legs. I can come back and we can talk about Davos. We can watch our wonderful ruling class. They're in their element at Davos. So I'll go take 5 minutes. I'll go to the bathroom. I'll see what I have in the way of snacks here, although I don't feel very good. I'll come back and we'll talk about Davos. That's right, I do have my Steely Dan shirt today. Just did up a steak and eggs brunch. Oh, that sounds nice. I could really go for that right now. I could really go for some steak and eggs right now. That'd be wonderful. Let's see here. Okay, don't go anywhere, okay? I'll be back in a couple minutes. How else are you supposed to peel it? You're supposed to use your fingers. With your teeth. I don't know about that. Got some goldfish crackers here. From my San Francisco Giants cup that I got like 10 years ago when my partner and I went to a Giants game in San Francisco. Good times. Shaking those like cat trees. That's all part of the ASMR experience. So we can chat for a bit. Let's just have a little chat. Okay, I'll eat my snack. We can check in on Davos. I want them to make a really big goldfish like the size of a focaccia. They do have bigger ones. They definitely do. Not as big as a focaccia. Not big enough, god damn it. There's Bill Cosby. For a while in our Discord server, we actually had a Bill Cosby did nothing wrong guy. That was an interesting character, wasn't it? Kind of weird. Kind of a weird thing to make the hill you want to die on. They canceled Bill Cosby for the small crime of drugging women, using his position of power and influence to gain access to young women who he drugged and sexually abused. For the mere crime, just for that. Sad. You couldn't make the Cosby Show today with cancel culture how it is. That's what the Bill Cosby defenders say. If drugging and sexually abusing women is a crime, well, It's like, oh wait, I'm hearing it is indeed a crime. Yeah. That is indeed a crime. Okay. I've just been informed. My producer's in my ear. I've just been informed that that is in fact a crime. It's jarring to see him in these kind of videos. You lose sight of how much of a, I mean, if you're a geriatric millennial like me or a Gen Xer, you'll know this, but if you're younger, you don't realize the massive sway that Bill Cosby had on pop culture for years, almost the entire decade of the 80s. Like, he was the man in entertainment for a long time. And precisely put in that position because he held up this, like, very non-controversial example of, like, how black people are supposed to operate, right? Or how they're supposed to live. This moral example. He was always, like, again, especially later in his career, finger wagging at the younger generations for their pants. Wearing, yeah, harmless family guy. Middle class, doctor, you know, with his goofy sweaters and everything, and to be finger wagging at the younger generations for their baggy pants and everything like that. Bill Cosby. A primetime show on national TV with your name on it doesn't get much bigger. The biggest show. The most popular show with the biggest ratings. Yeah, it was a sort of respectability. That was kind of the word that I was searching for. He was an example of this kind of, like, the kind of respectability. This icon of black respectability, pretty much what he was. Oh man, I accidentally got my last pineapple bubbly. I was going to get the other flavors, my last one. I'm going to have to pick up some more of these. These are tremendous. These pineapple bubblies. I think I'm willing to declare bubbly the winner of the flavored soda water wars. You know? Respectable, i.e. palatable to whites. Absolutely. And I don't even want to take away, I mean, it was an entertaining show and the cast was very good. I don't want to take away from the group accomplishment of everyone that worked on that show. I think it was popular for a reason. It was well made. It was a good show, but that is kind of the harmful politically, like what the Cosby family was like in pop culture was representing, you know? I don't think I do get polar. I would like to try it. I've seen a couple people in the TRRS Discord server post about this polar soda water, which looks good. I've seen some pretty good looking flavors. I'm not so sure though. Second point, we got to make cars look like this again. Okay, I know we can't entirely get rid of car culture. I've advocated for why I think we do need to like move away from car culture. I know we do have to keep them around in certain areas. I know some people, driving is going to be around in one form or another. Hopefully we can significantly cut back on it. We got to make cars look like this again though. Okay, if we're going to keep car culture, make cars rectangular again is what the one demand I have. Yeah, you bought in on the rectangle car hype. Absolutely. Make cars rectangular again. All that stuff tastes like a fruit was talking to you from the other room. I mean, this pineapple version, has surprised me. The level of, you keep waiting for you feel the taste, but you keep waiting for the wave of sweetness to hit, either the sugar or the sucralose or whatever, and it just doesn't come. It's interesting. Anyway, I think it's probably better, even though I'm a big energy drink and diet soda proponent, I think it's probably better to drink these than that stuff. Well, actually, thank you, God damn you, for ruining my vibe on this. Simplistic linguistic. Actually, rectangular cars are more dangerous to pedestrians and cyclists, as well as being less aerodynamic and therefore less efficient. But I understand the aesthetic appeal. God damn it. Like, yeah, this is too much. This is too much, okay? This actually doesn't even count as... Like I said, rectangular, right? This is not rectangular. This is like a Virtua Fighter as polygon, okay? That's not a rectangle, okay? But this new Hyundai concept car is. I love this. This is absolutely, if this is the next wave of EVs, sign me up. This is tremendous. Although the concerns are noted about the angularity and the reasons for why those design changes were made. This is absolutely sick, though. I'm sorry to say. This is absolutely sick. The interior, the red, it looks nice. This nails that retro futuristic look so much more than Elon could ever hope to. This seems simultaneously of the past and of the future.
To talk you through all this.
Hello, I was in Japan last week, and all I have to say is trains.
Goat's Head. Thank you very much, Goat's Head, for the 14 months of Tier 1. We agree. We agree. Trains. Absolutely. Trains, please. Another thing that I plan on asking Canada's political leaders if they ever fucking talk to me on here. I'll ask Jugmead as well. I'll see if Jugmead will talk to me. And I do agree, though. Bring back knobs. I'd like to see some more knobs on there. Overall, though, I do love this. How about this? A high-speed train with wood paneling. I mean, as we've talked about, Lana, like what we really need is just a high-speed train, a high-speed rail, but we just need to call it like, the cyber train or like the Omni train. Call it the Omni train, and you put some fancy lighting on there, some purple and blue and neon lights. You make it all futuristic looking. And that's how you sell it to these tech investors. Omnitrain. And it's cool. And the doors open and like steam comes out and it looks all like a spaceship and everything. Quebec City to Windsor. That's right. This is my main political issue that I support now. Okay? Build the Omnitrain between Quebec City and Windsor, Ontario. Okay? Someone needs to promise to do this. Campaign on this. My car is a knob for a driver. Oh my goodness. Someone give me like $5 billion. You give me $5 billion. Some bank or investor. You want me to invent the next big thing that changes society, that disrupts transport, that disrupts the tech industry, Give me a couple $1 billion. I will build you the I'm going to show you the Omni train. We'll build that. This is how we're going to sell it to everybody. All our tech bro friends and all these folks. We're going to get them on board with this. The Omni train, folks. Why not? Why not try this? It'll change our whole society. Building the Omni train. Between Quebec City and Windsor. That's like 40% of the population of Canada live in between these two places. Yeah, holograms, smoke trails, all the works. The works. It's going to look right out of a Ridley Scott movie from the 80s, okay? And it's just a straight line. It's like easy to do. Like look at what China has done with their high-speed rail construction over the last 10 years. We literally just have to do one straight line. We can't do that. We can't say we're going to start right now. We're going to build we're going to build the Omni train between Quebec City and Windsor. It's going to be done in 10 years. And we just start doing it. How about that? How about that crazy idea? Omega could be an alternative as well. The Omega train. Can we name it after a cute animal? The capybara mobile. I don't know. We'll workshop that. We'll workshop it. The point is, though, that it has to sound cool and futuristic. That's how we're going to sell it to people. This is how we win. You can go with the Rob train. That could be an possibility, you know. I wouldn't push for that, but I wouldn't say no either. Rob Rail, any of these things are good. Any of these ideas are good. The point is, since apparently nothing else gets these people excited about investing their money or investing in infrastructure, that's what you have to do to get them on board with it. If China's funding it through BRI, maybe we can name it after Bethune. That would be great. Since that'll be probably the more likely way that this project will ever actually be developed in this country, is if we did join the BRI, and maybe if things get bad enough, we will. Obviously, people in this country aren't ready to join BRI now, but maybe if we just continue the next couple of years or decades of decline, maybe eventually we'll be ready to talk. And I think that would be a wonderful idea to name the Omega train after Norman Bethune. The Omega train. Man, I've got to go on to China and experience all this infrastructure. It looks so cool. Let's look at the New York City subway. This always just blows my mind. Wealthiest country in the world, folks. The city where it's all happening. All the trillions of dollars in wealth flowing through this place every single day, every single moment. Wealthiest country in the human history. The city that never sleeps, baby. Just majestic. Wealthy people don't take the subway. Yeah, and you know what? Like, I'm so fortunate to live in a city that has an amazing public transit system. It probably could be better, but we have some beautiful metro stops in Montreal. There's also a big problem because there's a housing crisis here, just like there is anywhere else, and that leads to STM workers having to interact, be on the front lines of interacting with our unhoused community in this city. So that lends to some problems in our metro system. Overall, though, the stations are are great, are well kept up. The train is good. We just got a brand new futuristic train. And when you do actually have a public transit system that your city takes seriously, more affluent people do use it. Like, that's the thing. Like, when you actually invest into this infrastructure, people do use it. And we do need to invest in this infrastructure if we want to get people out of their cars, which we do need to do as much as possible. I went to Concordia. I can't tell you how much I miss the metro compared to Boston's MBTA. Yeah, it's an amazing metro system here. I also went to Concordia. A train from around Toronto to Montreal, isn't it more expensive than the short flight currently? Rail travel in this country is insanely expensive. It is significantly cheaper to drive your gas-powered car for these kinds of trips than it is to take the train or to take a cheap flight. No, it's really a shame. Have you watched the Not Just Bikes video about 50s car propaganda? I don't think so. Sounds interesting, though. It's one of the main reasons I love the film Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is pretty much a perfect movie and an incredibly innovative movie, but that's kind of what it's about as well, right? This intentional plot to disrupt and destroy public transit in LA, which used to have a outstanding public transit system. We have light rail, and they won't run it. Okay, what the... Hold on. Jesus. Hold on one moment. I'm trying to ban someone, and of course the ban button is not working because of my fucked up interface here. It's kind of embarrassing. Hold that thought. Okay. Okay. Sorry, we will no longer be hearing from Spunk Guzzler 69. We will no longer be getting those contributions anymore. I'm sorry to say. I'm just going to finish my goldfish here. I'm almost done. And then we can look some clips coming out of Davos. And then we could say goodbye for about another hour or so. What is with this? Who is that person they were asking about, like an embarrassing story? I don't know. It's because I kind of know the actor Jay Baruchel. He's been on my podcast before. I hung out with him a bunch of times, like years ago when I first moved to Montreal, and he's just a guy that I kind of randomly know and has been on my podcast before. And for some reason, someone was just asking repeatedly about Jay. I have no idea why. Wonderful guy, that Jay Baruchel. Years ago, I wrote a screenplay, and I didn't know that Jay that well, and I sent it to him, and he read my screenplay and talked to me about it. Was very kind and took time to read it and give me notes and stuff. Very classy guy. Noted Habs fan. That's right. Watch Goon. Goon is great. Goon is one of the all-time best sports comedies. Speaking of which, Rob, I think Summer Series are going to be revisiting the show, The OC. I think you know how I feel about that, Marty. It was a big OC head. Not really their later seasons, but really the season 1, especially season 1 and maybe season 2. Jay Baruchel, $1 Million Baby. That's right. That's when I knew, when I first met Jay, was when he was like just cast in that movie. Season 1 and season 2 were so important to my high school experience. It was the year I graduated high school. It was like the year when the first year I lived here in Montreal was when that came out. So I will try to make it for those first seasons. Well, Frank, do you have a source for that claim? Some big accusations being thrown around about James Cameron, how closely he works with the CIA making those movies. I would like to see a source for that claim. I don't know if that's accurate. Anyway. We can look at some of these Davos clips. Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry, my Twitch dashboard just keeps crashing. I don't know what the deal is with it. I sometimes try to like have that issue with rating other channels and using the functions. So I have to log out and log back in while live. And it seems to have some fucked up results. Davos Seaworth, that's right. We have to wait so long for more dragon bullshit. That's so unfortunate. So long. Well, they're not even close to filming that new season. Not cool. I gave up on GRRM ever finishing the books like 7 years ago. I'm a holdout, James. I don't know. I think he's going to... Well, okay, so I don't think he'll finish the books. I do think he will finish Winds of Winter. Okay? I do think he will finish it. G Cluppy. G Cluppy shows up for the first time. No. I can't abide by these kind of statements. I can't. House of the Dragon filming is going to take 8 months. 2024, season 2. Ugh. I think he's going to finish Winds of Winter. Dream of Spring, no. I sensed Rob was coping and came here as quickly as I could. Okay. Winds of Winter, yes. He's been doing some cheeky blog posts again lately. I think it's closer than he's letting on. Okay? Dream of Spring, no, though. Look at some of these clips here. Oh, these are funny. These are funny to look at as well. Hang on just one sec. All kinds of good stuff to look at. Luke Savage was sharing some old Davos tweets, which are very funny. Let's see here. Are we ready to go? So one kind of interesting thing about Davos as well, and this also came up in the Insurgents podcast in this conversation with Ken Klippenstein. Again, I would encourage people to listen to that. It's very good. But what also comes up is there's this kind of backlash about Davos where it's like, oh, you can't criticize this because it's like anti-Semitic, because there's these right-wing people that have framed it as they frame everything as some kind of like Jewish conspiracy. This is where the Jewish conspiracy that runs world affairs, where the agenda is set, which is obviously preposterous. This is the conspiracy version of all these right-wing incidents, which always comes back to that. When in reality, we know there is no Jewish conspiracy to control the world. There is a capitalist conspiracy to control the world. That's the basic difference. That's the one thing they can't grasp in their weird reactionary brains. They can't understand this concept. It's not a Jewish conspiracy. It is a capitalist conspiracy involving Jewish people, Muslims, Hindu people, evangelical Christians, others, a wide variety of people, just people that I think are just pure sociopathic atheists who worship nothing but greed itself. There's no religion that's controlling these things. It's a capitalist conspiracy. Do Jews control the media? Of course they do not. Capitalists control the media. This is the one thing they can't quite, these weird reactionaries can't quite wrap their minds around. All people of all races, but overwhelmingly white Western bourgeois men. That is true. That is true. Although we're working on changing that. We are working on changing that, Lana, and getting more women and more brown people and more LGBTQ people into our ruling class, sociopaths. We are trying to do that, as Trudeau is pointing out here. He says himself, this is from 2016 at Davos. They put out these shareable little images. He says, diversity is the engine of invention. It generates creativity that enriches the world. This is exactly why people become reactionary towards woke politics, or they become anti-woke, because they see the way that people ruling class members like Justin Trudeau or others, people in the Democratic Party or the whole liberal NGO complex, will very cynically use diversity and LGBTQ issues to whitewash or pinkwash their reactionary agenda. So people become very reactionary against these issues, which is ridiculous, because we can still support basic ideas like diversity, we can support feminism, we can support gay and trans rights, obviously, while not just ceding that entirely to these ruling class weirdos so they can weaponize this kind of language in order to perpetuate. Yeah, it's empty corporate slop. That's right. We don't need to cede that ground to these people, but this is exactly why people become reactionary against it incorrectly. The fourth industrial revolution should be a revolution of values. This is great. This is probably the best one. Again, this is from 2016 Davos. We need the 3 W's: women, water, and well-being. From the CEO of Coca-Cola Company, Muhtar A. Kent. One of the major sponsors of this stream, obviously, as you know, Diet Coke, the world's second most popular soda. Proud to be part of the Coca-Cola family. And being part of I also agree that we need to embrace the 3 W's. Women, water, and well-being. There's some other funny ones too. There's will.i.am. Let's put our optimism goggles on. A degree of volatility is okay. The market sorts things out eventually. That's the kind of thing these folks believe, right? We need less regulation and more innovation in Europe. Speed is the new currency of business. This is how these people talk. Like we were saying, this is definitely a meeting of our de facto ruling class, the political elites and the financial elites. They do come together indeed to plot and their world conquest and world domination. It's not a Jewish thing. It's just purely a capitalist thing. And this is what they're doing there. And I think kind of using this kind of language of diversity or social justice is still going on today. This one as well, this tweet as well, or this quote as well. This is the type of innovation they love. This better not be Rickrolling me. God, that was so frustrating. Tiny apartments.
A real estate entrepreneur plans to replace this one home in Raleigh with 100 apartments, each roughly the size of a shipping container. This property is right along Hillsborough Street between downtown and NC State's campus. It's less than a quarter acre of land. WRAL's Matt Tallhelm shows us what it would be like to live in one of those tiny apartments.
Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful. These are the disruptive ideas that they're coming out with. Let's see what other tweets that I had about this. So here's from Davos. This is Finland's PM, Sanna Marin. Finland, obviously, like, she gets held up, and so again, we want to talk about how the way the ruling class incorporates these kind of like diversity initiatives, or uses this kind of language of diversity, feminism, social justice in order to whitewash their extremely reactionary agenda, which is benefits themselves and their shareholders primarily against the benefits of working class people. The Finnish PM is an example of this. I think, was that there a few weeks ago? There was a little discourse about her like partying and how it was inappropriate. No, she's a girl boss and should be allowed to go out and have some drinks with the gals, or that was the conversation. And here's what she's saying at Davos, saying, "We don't know when the war ends, but Ukraine has to win. I don't see another choice." So again, it's a woke girl boss queen just saying, yes, the war needs to continue. Continue indefinitely. That's what's the best for the people of Ukraine, is if this war just continues for the next year, the next 2 years, 5 years, who's to say? We just have to keep pumping funds and arms in there. And that's what's going to help people in Ukraine.
We don't know when the war will end, but we have to make sure that it will end, Ukrainians win. I don't think that there's any other choice. If Russia would win the war, then we would only see decades of this kind of behavior ahead of us. I think other countries...
It would be so historically unprecedented if any country was able to just go in and, interfere politically in a country, invade it, bomb it, overthrow the government. Can you imagine if someone was just allowed to do that with total impunity? With total impunity and zero consequences, it would be chaos. That's why we have to stop them here and now. If any country in this hypothetical scenario where there was a country that just went in all around the world, in Southeast Asia, in Africa, in Latin America, and just overthrew governments, did coups, funded, armed, and trained fascist militias to commit war crimes, the most brutal, barbaric violence you can imagine, disappearing political dissidents, targeted assassinations, military invasion, drone striking weddings and funerals and hospitals with no consequences, no accountability. Can you imagine if a country was able to do this and there was never any consequences? It would just be total chaos. We could never have that. So that's why we have to have these kind of woke girl boss queens advocating for this. And thank goodness.
Are looking very closely what is happening now in Ukraine. And if Russia would win, then it would send a message that you can invade another country, you can attack another country, and you can gain from that. We don't know.
Amazing. Here's Cinema and Mansion in Davos. Like, it's honestly, the thing about this is that these people are so fucking unbothered. They're so comfortable in their positions in the top of these economic and political and cultural institutions. They're so snug and secure that they can just go out there and just totally dab on us. They can just dab on us all in full view. And they're all relatively comfortable that there won't be any consequences for it. And they're correct to believe that. So you have Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin surrounded by billionaire CEOs share a high five after agreeing that they won't reform the Senate filibuster.
Difference for the American people in the last 2 years.
We still don't agree on getting rid of the filibuster.
That's correct.
Thank you. I was.
And she dresses like this to really drive the point home, how just now she's this elite out of touch. Once again, I was talking about Trotskyists the other day. Once again, the Trotskyist to like whatever cinema is pipeline strikes again. and just bragging about the fact that like even in the US Senate, which is really one of the most undemocratic institutions you can imagine, like really not representative in any way of like the demographics of America, completely biased and totally unfair, not representative at all about the broader population of what the things that America want. And then you have these two people in the Democratic Party high-fiving and bragging while surrounded by billionaire CEOs that they're going to continue to make this institution as gridlocked and as undemocratic as possible, and to ensure that even with the huge roadblocks in terms of like what they're able to, the power they're able to wield there, will shut down even any attempts to use even that, and to ensure that nothing happens that is of benefit to anyone at all. And here they're not just Cinema and Manchin, but the economists, like at the World Economist Forum, talking about how they need higher unemployment in order to deal with inflation. Bragging about how they blocked social spending and they prevented more economic crises by blocking social spending, by raising childhood poverty and all these things. It's really amazing. It's really stunning how totally secure they are and how comfortable they are advocating for these things. I did want to see this clip as well. There's one of Al Gore, which might be all right. Apparently Al Gore was at least like yelling at some people. Let's see if we can glean anything from this.
Line that we're going to bring these emissions down. And just to put the science in a slightly different context, people are familiar with that thin blue line that the astronauts bring back in their pictures from space. That's the part of the atmosphere that has oxygen, the troposphere, and it's only 5 to 7 kilometers thick. That's what we're using as an open sewer. If you could drive a car straight up in the air at interstate highway speeds, you'd get to the top of that blue line in 5 minutes. And all the greenhouse gas pollution would be below you. We're still putting 162 million tons into it every single day. And the accumulated amount is now trapping as much extra heat as would be released by 600,000 Hiroshima-class atomic bombs exploding every single day on the Earth. That's what's boiling the oceans, creating these atmospheric rivers and the rain bombs, and sucking the moisture out of the land and creating the droughts and melting the ice and raising the sea level and causing these waves of climate refugees predicted to reach 1 billion in this century. Look at the xenophobia and political authoritarian trends that have come from just a few million refugees. What about 1 billion? We would lose our capacity for self-governance on this world. We have to act. So in answer to your question, I would say we have to have a sense of urgency much greater than we have yet had, and we need to make some changes. Are we going to thin blue?
I'm interested to know what the changes are. That's always the question. And listen, you know, when I watch wrestling promos, I love the passion. Okay, decent promo from Al Gore. But Al, listen, like Al fucking blew it. Al could have been president of the United States. Al could have meaningfully impacted United States policy on this. He won the 2000 presidential election and just let George W. Bush and this corrupt Supreme Court fiasco take the election away from right in front of his face. And he applauded them the entire time and congratulated them the entire time, all in the name of being like civil, because it would have been too uncouth to accuse them correctly of stealing the election, which they did. And Al Gore, as president of the United States, maybe might have been able to do something to meaningfully impact U.S. policy. So when it comes to like climate change or emissions or green energy or what have you. So I love to see the passion at this group of like stuffed shirt billionaires, Al Gore hooting and hollering about the lack of urgency. I agree, there should be more of a lack of urgency when it comes to climate stuff. However, that's the question. Why, when Al Gore had an opportunity to act, he did not do it. The complaining is great, but I'm also interested in hearing what Al Gore's actual solutions are and whether Al Gore is going to talk correctly about the emissions that we need to cut back on. Is he Al Gore interested in some green energy band-aids, or is he interested in actually reforming or ideally eliminating the sort of global economic system which is leading to these outrageous emissions and all this climate chaos? Again, it all comes back to a problem of being a problem caused by capitalism. Does Al Gore think that we can solve this problem under this current economic system? That's a question that I'd be interested in hearing the answer to. You know, what's the sense of urgency? More electric vehicles? Like what's Obama saying? What's Biden saying?
So some leftist based in Canada, I was turned on to this sick individual and I found this.
Hey, Majority Report, thank you very much for the raid. Majority Report, welcome on in here. What is happening? How's it going?
Count on me. You're going to have good
Bunker
old
up
Rob to talk you through all this.
Biddy, for your thoughts. Thank you very much for the 9 months of Tier 1. I appreciate that. Hello. Thank you. And everyone, hello. I'm Rob. I'm a socialist Twitch streamer here in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Smash the follow button if you'd like to join the community, or if you want to chat. Happy to have you here. Hope the Majority Report raid went well today. We're just looking at clips of the Davos clips. And just looking at this fiery promo that Al Gore was just cutting about the lack of urgency on these climate issues. Anyway, that was the point that I wanted to make about Al Gore, though, is that, yeah, I appreciate the passion. I'm glad someone is like yelling about this stuff. It's better that I guess that he's using his platform for that kind of stuff rather than, you know, what most other presidents are up to, or former presidents. But my point is, though, that when Al Gore had the ability to maybe wield significant power and influence in the U.S. government, he blew it. You know, he let these reactionaries steal the election from him. Then he won. He won the fucking election. And that's not like a J6 Trump was robbed conspiracy theory. That's an actual factual claim. Al Gore won the election in 2000 and they just stole it completely undemocratically. So, you know, if I was Al Gore and I cared about these kind of issues, I would have simply like became president after winning the election and then done something about these issues that he's now complaining about. Nothing would have come in, and that's the ultimate reality, Sin Chow. Nothing would have come of it. Maybe a few years ahead of schedule, some more investment into like solar energy or EVs or some of this stuff. Maybe. That'd be probably the best case scenario of a Al Gore presidency. And 9/11 probably still would have happened, and then he would have been pressured by the rampant xenophobic bloodlust of the time, would have been pressured into going into Iraq and doing all the same shit. Imagine if Al Gore, as president in 2001, tried to say like, no, we're not going to go into Iraq. After 9/11, he would have been removed from office probably. Of course he would have gone in. He would have done exactly all this, whatever all the generals and all the neocons wanted. He would have done exactly what they wanted him to do. He would have felt worse about it. That's right. That's right. He would have felt much worse about it. Yeah, because Al Gore knows what happens when you try and go against those people. He knows exactly what happens. They all know. He would have gotten hit by the shoe. Yeah. Yeah, and then probably 8 years of McCain after. Part of the reason for Iraq was Bush trying to keep up with Daddy. I mean, that was part of the narrative, but it was very powerful people in the national security establishment and the political establishment that had their designs on Iraq for a long time, and that was part of the angle that was pushed at that time. But the same people would have been making those same arguments no matter who was president. Anyway, that's kind of a fun hypothetical thought experiment. Where's Ken's been retweeting some stuff from here. Oh, and also to our friends from Majority Report, I would please just ask you to, if you didn't subscribe to this channel, if you didn't hit the follow button, please smash the subscribe button to the Insurgents podcast that I do with Jordan Ewell and sometimes Ken Klippenstein, who appeared on the latest episode and talked about Davos and talked about this Tesla story that he broke the other day. Very, very good episode. I would encourage you to please check that out if you can. So this gets into some of the interesting kind of foreign policy or geopolitical conversations that we have sometimes. Here we have Chris Coons asked if the U.S. will move towards protectionism, acknowledges unfettered free trade has caused a populist backlash.
Also, managing director of IMF is saying here that a bit of nearshoring to avoid this notion of just in time and a little bit more just in case, building a little bit resilience is fine. But if we go too much into this notion of friendshoring or more protectionist measures, we can shave off a lot of growth globally. We know that there is a new House. There is also partly a new Senate. How far will the U.S. go in friendshoring, making sure that things goes to Mexico and countries that you're allied with? Do you see the point of the IMF managing director, and how will the U.S. balance this to make sure that we also will have growth in the years to come, and this will be a very shallow recession, if a recession at all?
Look, thank you for your comments and the opportunity. I do think that American leaders and business leaders in particular recognize that the severe disruptions of the pandemic and some of the challenges of the reach and the scope of globalization that have caused a backlash in many of our countries, a populist backlash, certainly in the United States, need to be addressed. One of the ways to deal with some of our challenges in terms of the hemisphere and migration also is to do some nearshoring to improve the job opportunities in Central America, for example. But I don't think it will be as robust as...
Improved job opportunities in Central America. Here's what I don't understand. Like, they've got what they wanted in Central and South America, right? They're talking about we need to address the immigration by providing job opportunities in these countries. Haven't they overthrown all the governments of these fucking countries to ensure that they have compliant client states of the United States that will build all the factories for the cheap labor and will export all the resources for American multinational corporations? Like, haven't they agreed to all that? They have had their way in these places for generations, and the chaos is still happening. You might even argue that the chaos and the migrant caravans are a direct result of U.S. interference in these countries in Central and South America. What a crazy concept that is. So what they're saying, oh yeah, we need to interfere a little bit more, and then that's going to deal with these immigration issues that we're experiencing as a result of this stuff. We just need to give them a little bit more neoliberalism, and then they're going to have plenty of job opportunities, and no one's going to want to join a migrant caravan. Yeah, and they are losing their grip on that again. And he talks to about the populist backlash. The populist backlash, which is a way of like delegitimizing the idea that there is a backlash to their just relentless global Monroe Doctrine imperialism that they are constantly perpetrating on the global South countries. You know? And populist inherently frames that as being like a right-wing phenomenon and thereby like illegitimate. Yeah, people are sick of your shit, and congratulations, like they should be. Yes. That was really one of the most amazing clips that we watched a couple weeks or months ago now. This American ambassador, I can't even remember where it was. I would love to see it again. When they're talking about like how they're losing influence in Central and South America, and they're just so perplexed. They're like, why aren't these countries joining us in this plan of like development? Why are they going with China and Russia and these other countries? It just makes no sense. They can't figure it out. They have no idea why, but it's like, do you really not know? Do you really not know? Like they just can't wrap their minds around it. How they've lost their grip on this. That there's people around the country that know exactly what U.S. style development means. Again, this is not a new thing. It's been going on for decades now. They know what it means when the U.S. gets involved in your economy and helps you with your development, and you get the IMF loans. You know, they know exactly what that represents or what's going to happen if they choose this other alternative. But they're choosing now that there's a shifting power balance in this kind of geopolitical universe. Now there is another alternative, and they can't quite strong arm these places the way they used to. But they're still perplexed. If we just give them a little bit more neoliberalism, all these problems are going to go away. Sir, the problems are a result of the neoliberalism. They're not neoliberalism, not the cure. It's the cause of the problem, sir. We knew this decades ago. Why are we still doing this? Anyway.
Potentially projected. I do think that we will continue to have an open economy, to be committed to free trade, and to see the robust value that globalization has brought to the world as well as to many of our people. This is a delicate point. It is unclear where a divided Congress might go in trade policy. But I do think there's been a lot of comment, a lot of concern about the Inflation Reduction Act, one of the largest pieces of legislation that a divided Senate just passed. A 50-50 Senate managed to do some robust things, invest in our own infrastructure.
50-50 Senate is still not bipartisan in any way.
In our own
also, of IMF is saying here that
Here they have Chris Coons and World Economic Forum president agree protectionism would strengthen supply chains and reduce political extremism by bringing jobs back, but it would shave off a lot of growth.
A bit of nearshoring to avoid this.
We created so many avenues for investment. Why don't people love us?
In time. And a little
Did we
bit
arm
more
fascist death squads to indiscriminately kill your citizens? Maybe, but focus on your job opportunities.
But if we go too much into this notion of friendshoring or more protectionist measures, we can shave off a lot of growth.
Okay, yeah, we saw that. Okay. I know that's Davos. That's what's going on there. What else is happening? Anything else? We got anything else? I'm coming up on the end of the stream pretty soon. Excuse me. There's this clip from the past of this guy. Remember this guy was on Tucker Carlson? And he ended up getting on that incredible appearance on Tucker.
This is my first time at Davos, and I find it quite a bewildering experience, to be honest. I mean, 1,500 private jets have flown in here to hear Sir David Attenborough speak about, how we're wrecking the planet. And I hear people talk in the language of participation and justice and equality and transparency. But then, almost no one raises the real issue of tax avoidance, right? And of the rich just not paying their fair share. It feels like I'm at a firefighters conference and no one's allowed to speak about water, right? There was only one panel, actually.
Well, we've had two. You're the second of our panelists.
There was only one panel.
Let's go there.
One panel hidden away in the media center that was actually about tax avoidance. Yeah. I was one of the.
I think this is as close as it comes, Pathogen.
Needs to change here. 10 years ago, the World Economic Forum asked the question, what must industry do to prevent a broad social backlash? The answer is very simple. Just stop talking about philanthropy and start talking about taxes. Taxes. We need to... just 2 days ago, there was a billionaire in here, what's his name? Michael Dell. And he asked the question, Name me one country where a top marginal tax rate of 70% has actually worked. And, you know, I'm a historian. The United States, that's where it has actually worked. In the 1950s, during Republican President Eisenhower, you know, the war veteran, the top marginal tax rate in the US was 91% for people like Michael Dell. You know, the top estate tax for people like Michael Dell was more than 70%. I mean, this is not rocket science. I mean, we can talk for a very long time about all these stupid philanthropy schemes. We can invite Bono once more, but come on, we got to be talking about taxes. That's it, taxes, taxes.
He's not wrong. I mean, okay, so he's wrong in certain. The problem can be solved by rich people paying taxes. No, but I do think he does raise an interesting point about the role that this kind of like trend toward the neoliberalized economic system, starting with the Reagan years, when they chipped away at that, has led directly to a lot of the crises that we're seeing right now. That's the whole thing about like Keynesianism, right? And like the New Deal, right? It's not socialism, but it was a way for capitalism to save itself, right? Without becoming fascist. And that's what allowed this like middle class to grow. And that's what allowed America to be prosperous. The fact that like there was going to be no revolution because they placated working people by actually giving them meaningful concessions, you know, and slowly clawing that back over the decades and really exponentially starting in the Reagan era has led to a lot of the exponential increases in a lot of the huge problems in housing, in the environment, the climate, and all this stuff. Yeah, how are we going to expropriate the wealth of people who won't give it up and also control every political institution? Well, this is the problem, is that the wealthy control Davos. They control the media. They control the government. That's why it's not happening. And that's why it won't happen. Because whenever someone comes along and tries to work within our electoral system to advocate for people to pay taxes, they get destroyed in our media, which is owned by capitalist oligarchs. That's the whole issue. Like, yes, ideally we would have a system where there was a high marginal tax rate and there was more of a welfare state and there was this thriving middle class. But the idea that we can achieve that such a result democratically through voting and through engaging with the system, that is not accurate. That is not something that's going to happen. Well, I'm going to try and do something funny right here, and we'll see if it's going to work. Okay. Let's see if I can pull off this joke here. Here we go. You ready for this? Lana says, I like that he did a pipe bomb promo at Davos. That's cool, but I wish he'd been a touch more aggro. Yeah, I wish instead of cutting a pipe bomb promo, he actually wore a instead of cutting a pipe bomb promo, he actually wore a We can edit that and we can fix that in the mix. We can edit that. We can fix that in the mix, okay? Soundboard Master Rob. That's right. That's what they call me.
You can count on me. You're gonna have
That's what they call me.
Rob to talk you through all this.
Flawless.
Thank you, valued community member Fart Party 69 for the 11 months tier 1. Thank you very much. And folks, I do have to get going soon. So we're so close to that sub goal. Just a few generous chatters could get us to that sub goal. Again, I'm not at Davos. I'm not a big shot. I don't get unlimited funds from the banks or from the government. You know, I don't get these kind of bailouts. I build my productive forces on this platform using the kindness and generosity of the community members that hang out here. So please, if you are able, It is a huge, huge help if people smash the subscribe button to this program. It costs $5, or you can spend more and gift subscriptions, or you can use your Twitch gaming subscription to subscribe completely free of charge. Every little bit helps, and if you enjoy this content and this community, that's the only way it stays on the air.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Through the kindness and generosity of community members like King Window, thank you so much, sir, for the 5 gifted subs.
You can count on me.
I really appreciate that. Thank you, King Window.
Talk you through all this.
Thank you so much. And thank you to Fernand Talk as well for the 8 months tier 1. Folks, I don't want to alarm you, but one more generous chatter could get to the sub goal. And wouldn't it be great to be that person? Wouldn't it be great to be the person that gets into the sub goal? And again, if you subscribe to the channel, you get all the wonderful emotes, including the brand new Rob
You've just become
Eat
an elite member
emote
of the Friendship Triangle.
Oh my gosh. Look at that. Dace09. Their first 5 gifted subs in the channel. Thank you to Dace09. Instantly rockets right to the top of Twitch's very own 2-dimensional clout, trickle-down clout, and friendship access tiered reward system. Right to the elite strata. I love that for you, Dace. Thank you very much. I appreciate it a lot. You join fellow elite members such as King Uendo as well, one of the founding elite members. Well, that's exciting. I feel good here. And I didn't have to be a hard ass today. Thank you, folks. I didn't have to be a hard ass. Like I said I was going to have to. I hate doing that shit. I saw Iron Ford also just posted this in the Discord server. So you can, if you join the Discord server, you can get the meme and you can make your own Rob sandwich. Dun, dun, dun. Hold on. It's a good soundtrack to go with this.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Thank you, Iron, for that. And thank you, Old Dutch, as well, for the gifted sub. Thank you, Old Dutch. I appreciate that. Very, very kind of you, Old Dutch, as well. That is going to do it for the stream today. Okay? That's going to do it for the stream today. Thank you for watching, everyone. We did it. We made it. What is it, Wednesday? I'll be back tomorrow. I wonder what Pierre's people make of that. Well, this is going to be disarming. They're going to be like, we got this. We can handle this guy. Look at this. We're going to let this guy show us up. I'm still waiting on the bra sound alert. Well, you can do that yourself. You can just trigger that yourself by gifting a sub and using text-to-speech anytime you want. Great stream, Rob. And I've got some breaking news. The driver in that Tesla video that ended up being fake died 2 months later in a self-diving dress. Is that true? Is that really true? Not that I doubt you, Marty, but like that sounds too like let's see here. Don't know how it hasn't gone more noticed over the years, but the guy in the video that Elon tweeted out to show the safety features of Tesla Autopilot died in a Tesla Autopilot accident 2 months later. In the New York Times, and they won't even let me look at the fucking headline. Joshua Brown, who died in self-driving accident, tested limits of his Tesla. Jesus. What do you even say about that, folks? What do you even say about it? I don't know. I don't know what you say. I don't know. I got nothing. He died doing what he loved. What can you even say? I don't know. I got nothing at all. We're gonna rate our pal Starlight Dazzle. Thank you again for watching, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow. Got more of a hard cutoff time tomorrow. Got to bring my kid to the dentist. Tomorrow. But thanks again for watching. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. That's all. This was a good one. I appreciate you all for tuning in, for supporting the stream, supporting the work that I do. I appreciate it a lot. I appreciate it a lot, folks. Even if I sometimes don't act like it, I do. So that's all. Give my regards to our friend Starlight Dazzle. I'll be back tomorrow. Join the Discord if you haven't already. Okay, if you're a lurker or whatever. If you're not in there, join the Discord community. All kinds of great stuff going on in there. Join that, okay? You get notifications when I'm going live. It's good stuff. Okay, goodbye.
Time! Oh? Is that how we're fucking playing it today? Boys? Robbers? I fucking can play the same fucking game, baby. You think I'm not prepared? You think I'm not prepared? You think I've been fucking streaming just yesterday? I'm prepared, baby. I'm safe. I will never be unprepared here. Hello, robbers! Welcome again to our little dance. Who wants to step to the floor? Huh? Any takers? Any takers? Hey, how's it going? I'm just Starlight Dazzle. I'm the knife guy. Hey! Very clever, CC, wanting me to drop the knife. I will never drop this knife.